Hello everyone, SirMonkeySuit Azapi here, back again with My Hero Academia. We have finally hit Season 6. I'm very excited to get back into this because if you didn't know, My Hero Academia was actually the first thing that I ever reacted to. And, you know, all the way through from the episode 1, like I was just so engrossed in the whole thing, absolutely loved it. And I can't wait to get back into it and see where we go, because it seems like things are kind of gradually getting a bit darker. So, you know, it's definitely going to be interesting going forward. I mean, Class 1A are going to be coming Class 2A very soon. They are nearly second years. But before they get there, I'm sure there is more shit they're going to have to deal with, because they are coming up to X Day. That is the day where they've kind of... You know, they've kind of set aside as like that's the day when all the shit kind of kicks off, and they need to be ready before that day kind of comes, you know. And they're basically forcing, they're not forcing, they're forced into having to get these kids ready to actually face off against the whole thing, because it is going to be that, you know, that big of a an event, and they don't have the resources to fight against what is now essentially called the Paranormal Liberation Front, that is led by Shigaraki now. So obviously he faced off against Redestro, absolutely demolished him, got rid of his legs, everything like that, and this whole speech essentially that he gave, that you know, that Redestro and all of his, you know, Metal Liberation Army and whatnot basically look up to Shigaraki now. So Shigaraki, along with the League of Villains, who are no longer that anymore, they were used to living in rundown areas, kind of being out of sight, out of mind, but now they have access to resources that they never had, which makes them infinitely more scary. And Shigaraki also, you know, he has these like sort of like lieutenants, of course, from the League of Villains. He has them all, which, you know, I imagine all have their sort of their goons under them, sort of speak. So yeah, I mean, they're infinitely more scary, and that can only mean it's going to be more exciting, and more excitement coming up. Bunch of different things. We learned the name of Lariat, the guy who was the fifth wielder, who had Black Whip, who we know that, you know, Deku can now use. And also in the last episode, All Might actually told Deku about what Nanashimura's quirk was, which was Float. So that's definitely going to be interesting going forward. And also it is very much needed for Deku, because Shigaraki, we know that like his quirk ability has increased beyond measure, to the point where he doesn't even have to directly touch you in order to hurt you or kill you or whatever. He can actually do it depending on whatever you're touching. So if you're on the floor, he can get at you even at range. So that's scary. So yeah, Deku definitely needs Float. All Might as well. Like I wrote down here, and I can't remember where he said it. I think he might have said it in the when he was kind of outside, and what's his name? I'm gonna have to get used to all the names again. Aizawa came to speak with him, right? I think All Might said that that there's a meeting with Stain that needs to take place. So I am excited about that. I really, really want to see that. I thought that Stain eventually would come back into the story eventually, and also having a talk between those two, I think, would be very, very interesting, because Stain like kind of idolizes All Might, doesn't he? So that would be very, very cool. And yeah, I don't know if is there anything else. They got a lot of information like on the whole like thing that like no moves were experiments like to fix the quirk singularity and whatnot, and like the capacity problem that, you know, they were trying to figure out how they could store more quirks within somebody without them turning into like mindless bird brains, right? And whatnot. And then at the end, the sort of after credits thing, we had a little kid called Dai, who was in first grade, and whatnot. So I assume he's gonna have some, you know, some story going forward. Whether or not it's a similar sort of situation to Eri, I don't know. Speaking of Eri, her horn itches, so that's coming back into prominence again. Of course, like it shrunk down during that one point where she helped out Deku, right? And then that's sort of coming back now. Okay, so that's gonna have to be dealt with at some point soon, I'd imagine. And yeah, I mean, that's pretty much all we need to catch up on. So I think we're ready to get into Season 6 and see what we get. So a lot of people have said that, like, Season 6 is where, like, it kind of picks up again. And like really things start kicking off, so I am excited to get into this. So as always, the reaction will be here on YouTube, but if for whatever reason it gets taken down for copyright in the future, I will re-upload this as a discussion only, and a link to the reaction will be in the description below. As always, a link to the full-length reaction to this episode is in the description below, so if you want to watch the full-length reaction and not just the cut 10-minute version, the offer is there for you. And there's also actually no, there's not. I was gonna say that there's early access. There's not. Of course, you know, Season 6 has actually been airing for 2 weeks as of now, but the dub has only just released, so it's like, you know, a 2-week period after the fact. So there isn't going to be early access, so it's just going to be as the episodes come out, that's when I'll react to them, and they should be out relatively soon afterwards. Okay, so yes, we are going to get an episode 6, season 6, episode 1, and see what we get. So without further ado, let's go.
We had our hands full at the end of our first year at UA.
The end of their first year? So are they officially second years?
We'll do what we want.
It'll be scary, man.
Too late. If you're too slow, it'll be the end of Japan.
Maybe the end of more than that.
Our next fight's his last.
Opening. I am just gonna watch these, I think, now. Openings. Normally I decide not to, just to avoid spoilers and whatnot, but fuck it. I think the song is quite weak, but I like the stylistic approach, though.
Hey there, Twice. Sup?
I need some help, pronto! Crap, you've got Carmine guys with you. I gotta come up with something to use as a credo. Spinner and compressor in meetings with Redestro all day. Kieran and Dobby couldn't care less. And Toga's too cute to ask. I gotta take a dump! And that's why I ran out here to find you!
Paranormal Liberation Front has been split into regiments. The 3 strongest members of each regiment serve as aides to the lieutenants. Their duties kept them elsewhere. Their abilities surpass those of the average hero. There's hostility and resentment toward the current system. The freedom of an individual reigns supreme, and the existing status quo must be destroyed.
Good call. Thanks for your help.
Anytime, friend.
Hawks is doing a really good
They'll
job.
attack major cities across the country. Chaos will ensue. Redestro and the Hearts and Mind Party will swoop in. They'll hand out weapons and encourage self-defense. Shigaraki will ascend a throne of rubble, the second coming of All for One.
Yeah.
All of this came into focus thanks to you, Jean Bubai Goara.
Wow.
You went from being a petty criminal to a one-man army.
Yeah.
The
It's
person
ridiculous,
we
isn't
need
it?
to keep the closest eye on. I want to fly free. I can't do that as things are now.
We gotta get you in front of Shigaraki so he knows you're legit. You'll be in the mountains near Kyoto for 4 months. Whoops, that's a secret. Anyway, I don't think it matters if you know, since you're working so hard for us. The best people are those who help their friends. Don't you agree?
Oh, this is gonna make things
I thought so.
difficult. Oh, see, this is what makes like Twice so like interesting, you know.
Kyudai Garaki, quirkless.
He is quirkless. Okay.
He championed the idea of quirk-based community medical care. On the surface, the doctor comes across as a kind man.
All for One's most trusted agent.
Right, and he's the mad scientist who bioengineered those Nomu abominations.
There's no way they can bring him in.
A restricted area within the hospital, one entrance, through the morgue. Garaki is the only person who ever comes and goes. But if we act rashly, the Paranormal Liberation Front will enact countermeasures.
So what, we need to go through this
we
quietly
were able to
by the
apprehend
book.
All for One, but it was at the cost of our number one. We'll face this situation with every available resource at our disposal.
They're gonna just have everybody in there.
Team Endeavor will be in charge of securing Kyudai Garaki at Jaku Hospital.
Wow, keep them like sort of at
These
bay
two
while.
events will happen simultaneously. Hero Corps students will be deployed as logistical support for both.
Okay.
The idea is to take out the entire Paranormal Liberation Front in one sweep.
Fucking hell, they're doing this now?
Every
Jesus Christ. Bloody hell, this is ridiculous.
Is it a good idea for us to be the close.
Now that they've amassed so much raw power, Shigaraki will move to dominate society.
This is a big deal for the
Don't you worry.
like 1B
We
students.
just want you to help us a little at the very beginning of the raid.
They put me on the front lines of this.
Tenki's at the front line.
Back with the others.
It's just the best quirks for the job, right?
These are all quirks that can be used to subdue large groups of enemies quickly and from afar.
Yeah.
No one will escape.
I'm guessing Deku, Bakugo, and Todoroki are with Endeavor, though.
Why am I the only hero around? Sounds not
Guess
right.
we forgot to tell you the big news.
Oh.
You backstabbing liberation.
Oh, wow.
I want to be on the front line, damn it!
Remember, Bakugo, we only have provisional licenses.
You shut your face!
Right! The heroes are moving in now! That's our cue!
Ah, so this is what this was, yeah. But
Evacuating residents block by block!
I can't believe episode 1, man.
Mirko, the morgue.
On it.
Ah, wow. So they had
Everyone, please leave the building.
Up right there.
not expecting this.
You're the creator of the Nomu, and All for One's right-hand man, aren't you?
I mean, that's got to be it. There's no way he's getting away now. Not unless he's given himself quirks.
You will face justice.
Aizawa was there anyway, so even if the guy did have quirks that he gave himself, he does have a quirk.
You used erasure on this mad
I
man.
knew he must have done. Oh my god, he has a de-aging quirk.
All for One benefits from the ability now, doesn't he?
Why are you using it for evil, Doctor? Tell me what the hell you did to my friend! Let him go!
While you decay before us, our comrades are evacuating everybody in the hospital.
Nice.
We're more
They're
than
loving
ready
it.
to fight the Nomu here. You've programmed those creatures so they don't act unless they receive instructions from a specified individual. It's our turn to take something away from you.
No! Please.
We got company!
Jesus Christ. Holy fuck.
What fools!
Fuck! Oh, damn it! I never even...
It was a copy.
Shit! Where the fuck's the real one then? Oh, that sucks.
That ruse only bought me a little time. And I can't just walk away from this hospital. I spent incalculable hours.
There's all different
stockpiling
individual
capabilities.
quirks.
I will not leave them behind.
That's insane.
This will be fun!
Damn. He's got those legs though. Jesus! Hell! Dude, she's quick. What's up, Doc?
And you're the real one!
Ridiculous. Bugs Bunny. Bastard, it's the end. Okay, episode 1 of season 6, and they didn't take any time to set up this attack. They're literally going for it right now. I didn't think that would be the case. I mean, generally, with this show, the first episode tends to normally be like a recap of what happened before. Normally it takes like a couple to a few episodes to actually like, set up things that are going to be occurring going into the season. But this one just like, no, fuck it, we're straight into it. I guess fair enough, because the end of season 5 was kind of, it almost acted like a setup anyway, I guess. It was almost like a setup season for this one. So, like if you think about like season 5 as the pitch, and then season 6 is the is the hit. So yeah, I mean, God, like where to start? So we've only seen the sort of the attack on the hospital, so to speak, right, to get Udai, and to get him into custody, which didn't happen, at least not yet. I'm almost inclined to believe that they won't get a hold of him anyway, because they've only literally just formed the Paranormal Liberation Front, so it was never going to go as smoothly as they had thought that it would. And I mean, I don't know, I just think it's possible that it could get a hold of Udai like now, because I'm just wondering if he's done the job that he needed to do with Shigaraki. Shigaraki's still there. He's sort of incubating at the moment. But like, with all of the fighting that is about to take place in and around there, I just feel like I don't think it's going to take that much to sort of disrupt Shigaraki in there and bring him out, in which case it's going to be quite destructive. I don't know. I don't think this hospital is going to be standing for much longer. Put it that way. Because if he wakes up, that whole thing's going. You know, and as of right now, the only the hero that is even in and around there is Mirko. She's quick. She's very quick. She's a number 5 hero. I loved her entrance into of What's Up, Doc. It's just like Bugs Bunny. It works perfectly, so I'm not surprised that they went up they went with that. I don't know if they made the same joke in the sub or not, but yeah, very, very funny, very quippy. So yeah, we'll see. It looked like when Mirko burst through the door, the little bastard that can do all the sort of like the teleporting between places seemed to get hit. You know, but they do have regenerative properties, so I'm not gonna, you know, say that he's completely out of the picture and they can't, you know, that they can't get away or whatnot. You know, so we'll see. I didn't see the fact that Uday would have had a de-aging quirk. Sorry, not a de-aging. To be a double, I should say. I guess really, like, you should really be thinking about those things all of the time, because yeah, if you can just have a double, there's no point putting yourself in a vulnerable position anyway, right? You might as well make use of that. So yeah, I didn't see that going. It does take into account, like, I don't know if that means that the true Doctor, like, you know, Uday is actually quirkless or not, and the whole you know, Aizawa thing was, I don't know if that would affect it in the same way, you know. I'm trying to think if we've seen that before, where Aizawa's used his like ability on a double, and that has sort of affected the quirk in some way. I would assume so. I would probably assume so. This is the thing. Like, I think the real Uday probably does have that de-aging quirk thing. He probably does, because like it would just make sense logically to have it, especially working alongside One for All. Like, the longer that Uday is alive, the longer he is helping All for One out with all of his stuff. So I think that just does make sense. It does put into question, does he have anything else? You know, because I mean, that one specifically, the de-aging quirk, is something that can legitimately be seen to you know, to be removed when Aizawa does it. But there are quirks that aren't as, you know, they're not as visual unless like one is trying to activate it. So it does, you know, the fact is that he's been working on, you know, quirks that, you know, that you can force into one being, right? So I wouldn't put it past him if he had multiple quirks. What else? Yeah, so they had a nice sort of, I do like this sort of relationship almost that Hawks and Twice have now, and it does totally make sense as to why Twice would have almost looked to Hawks as a sort of a like that kind of friend or companion alongside, because with the introduction of all of these different regiments, so they did point them out, it almost makes me feel like, you know, Twice, he almost feels like disconnected from his friends, right? All of those that were in the League of Villains and whatnot, that it was just like a close, like, you know, relationship that they had. They were always in and around each other, and now they're segmented off into different regiments that barely even see each other, talk to each other anymore. And so Twice almost, you know, by you know, being like wanting to be close with somebody, Hawks was just there. And because Twice is that trusting kind of nice guy underneath, that him being the one to give away information and whatnot is definitely going to, I don't know how that's going to end up for him. I feel like he's going to feel very, very betrayed, and he's going to put all of the guilt and whatnot, all of that is going to go on himself, and therefore he's going to be very, very dangerous. I mean, they already pointed out the fact that like he's the one they need to keep an eye on, because he's able to just go and go and go and double up, and to the point where like it's ridiculous how many of himself he can just create. And I just feel like if if it does turn out and he figures it out that, you know, he's been like betrayed and he's the one that's give the information away, that, you know, that is just going to send him into a spiral of just like, you know, he's going to go mental, I feel like. You know, but that's the thing that's made Twice so interesting as the character. I've said before, like, Twice is the one that I am interested in the most out of that, like, you know, core group of like the League of Villains. I've said it before, because he is the one that's mostly sort of, if anything, like the neutral guy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, he would have quite happily been a hero on the hero side if he felt that that he wasn't sort of ostracized. So, you know, it's yeah, that's incredible. So yeah, we'll see. And also, like, you know, talking about that whole thing with Hawks and whatnot, the interesting thing is going forward how Hawks is going to, like, what is his play in this. Because when the attack starts during that meeting that they have apparently got set up, right, at the Paranormal Liberation Front headquarters, I just wonder what he's going to do. If he is still having to play the agent or whatnot, and so almost act like he's still on their side, or if it just turns into, right, by the way, I was an agent, and then obviously he joins in with the heroes and trying to do whatnot. Then we will see. So yeah, in terms of the regiments, so they did get them up. I did actually have to get up the subbed episode just so I could see what the things were saying, because for some reason in the dub it didn't bring up what they were. So, but the black is the Vanguard Action Tactics. That is Twice and Sanctum, I believe, were like the main ones that are like heading up that regiment. Violet is Guerrilla Warfare, which is Dabby and the ice dude with the hood. I can't remember his name. Carmine, Vanguard Action Intelligence, which is Toga and the guy with the laptop. And Brown, which is the Vanguard Action Support, which is Spinner and Mr. Compress. So yeah, very, very interesting. Of course, like I said before, that is kind of the thing that is keeping the core group of the League of Villains like sort of separate and away from each other, and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, I imagine next episode we will probably see the beginning of the attack on the the Liberation Front headquarters, and then we'll see where we go from there. If Uday is able to use what was it, Bob? Is that the thing's name? That's able to teleport things from one to another. This is a thing. Like, you don't know what, like, to the extent of what Uday has done, because you have that little thing who's able to do the teleporting of people and whatnot between areas, but there's nothing to say how he hasn't use that quirk in another thing, so that if that one does end up dying and not being able to use the quirk, that there's something else there in like, as backup. I mean, the fact that he's used a double of himself means that obviously he's prepared for shit like this. So I wouldn't put it past him if he had other options that aren't just if the first line of defense falls, there's other options there and other like plays it can make. Yeah, so the students are obviously backing up the heroes, at least sort of after the fact. At least for the Liberation Front attack anyway, there are those on the front line like Kaminari and Tokoyami who are heading up that. It was nice to see the Mushroom Girl, like, it sounds weird, like, to be afraid, but like the point I'm making is that it makes sense that, like, Class B have been those that haven't really had to deal with the shit that 1A has. So to see them like actually be involved in one for a change, like, you can see why they're not battle hardened yet. So it makes sense. What else? The opening, I thought the song was quite weak. I know that, like, over time, you know, like openings and whatnot, like, you know, you start to get used to them and whatnot, and you like them a bit more. I don't know if I'll probably say the same for this one. I did find it a bit weak. I did like the stylistic choice though of making it like a sort of like a retro, almost comic book kind of style thing, which, you know, My Hero have played on that anyway a lot. You know, but yeah, I do like the sort of the look of the whole thing. And yeah, and that's pretty much what I've got from that. I don't know, because of all of this happening now at once, I just feel like we're right into it. So like the sort of aftermath of all of this, I just feel like continues on, like, you know, almost like fight after fight after fight. You know, like obviously there's going to be like bits in between where you can catch a breather and whatnot, but I feel like at some point, like, I guess they, you know, come back from like recoup and then go off and or like another attack or whatever, but like all of these things like tactics and all of that and strategy and whatnot, I just feel like season 6 is going to be that kind of sort of cycle of going through, because they've started off so like immediately right into the action, you know. But we'll see. I'm just wondering whenever there's going to be a time for All Might to speak with Stain, because I'm really, really interested in to see what that talk is all about. But yeah, we'll see going forward. But that is all I've got for episode 1. Very, very excited, very intense start, and I'm excited to get back into My Hero Academia, because I do love this show. But that is all I've got, so thank you everyone for watching. Again, if you do want to watch the full-length reaction, links down there, and obviously to my Patreon and whatnot, there's a bunch of tiers there, like the early access for other shows gives you access to shows a week early. The full-length tier we've talked about, reactions, full-length reactions to all the shows I do, and then the exclusive tier which gives you access to full-length movie reactions. Of course, I am going to be watching World Heroes, the My Hero Academia movie, the 3rd movie, very soon, so keep an eye out for that. Unless people want to tell me that I shouldn't watch it in case of spoilers for something in season 6, if that is a thing, let me know. But anyway, yeah, that's all I've got, so thank you for watching. I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.